Hi, I'm Hillary.
And I'm Brenda.
And we work here at ArCal, the Resource Center for Accessible Living. And Brenda.
So, Hillary, since you're so well versed in employment services, what advice would you give someone about making friends on the job site? What are some things that the individuals have to know when they start a new job?
That is a great question, Brenda, because I think that a lot of people, when they start a job, one of the reasons we go to work is to make friends, right? Especially as adults. That's pretty normal. So that's the first thing. It is normal to make friends at work.
Okay.
But when you make friends at work, do you give away your best friendship on the first day to people you barely know?
No, you should not.
You should not. So rule number 1 about making friends at work is don't give away your best friendship to a stranger.
That's good advice, Hillary.
Yeah.
I like that. So what would you tell an individual on a new job site? Like, be cordial, be friendly, but kind of guard yourself a little bit?
So I think that the saying to be friendly is different from being friends, right? You can be friendly without being friends, but being friendly is the first step to making friends, right?
That's true.
So maybe if you're starting out at a job, or maybe you've just decided that, hey, I work with a lot of cool people and I'd love to make friends with someone, I'm going to start being friendly. So, right, we're not going to give away our best friendship, but we are going to start being friendly. And those are things like saying hi to our coworkers, good morning, how was your weekend? Things like, the weather or other basic small talk is a good way to kind of start the ball rolling and be friendly, because that's really where we want to start, right? Is just being friendly. So we're not going to give away our friendship just yet. We're going to start being friendly, okay?
I like that. And also, you're learning the job. So someone who's been there prior to you can ask them a few questions about how certain things work. It doesn't mean that you're, connected to that person and you're sticking with them. You're kind of still keeping your own boundaries. Is that
I
true?
think that's another thing in friendships are basically platonic relationships, and they have to have good boundaries. Any relationship has good boundaries, and they're also balanced, right? So you want to make sure you've gone around, you're being friendly, you're spending time at work, getting to know your coworkers in a way that has a lot of boundaries and is really appropriate, right? So the next thing is, how do you balance that? How do you take the next step between being friendly and starting to become friends?
And
having boundaries is a really good place to start. So my advice would be is to think about what a friendship is, which is a relationship, and that it's balanced, meaning that both people get something out of it and everyone benefits. So if you have someone, maybe on your job, where you can be helpful to them, you've gotten to know them a little bit, maybe some of the things that they like to do, you've chatted a little bit here and there, and now you find a way that maybe you can help them on their job, right? So that's a good way to start a friendship, is you really just start helping people out. And that's kind of where friendships start, is just being helpful, being supportive, and being there for someone. And again, we haven't jumped to best friendship yet.
No.
We're jumping from getting to know our coworkers in really job appropriate conversation topics to maybe being helpful. So think about what you do, what your role is, and how could you help your coworker. So maybe you work at a grocery store and you notice a coworker is kind of really overwhelmed. They've got a lot going on. Maybe you say like, hey, do you want me to grab that for you and bring it into the back? Or, hey, can I help you pick that up if you're someone who's really strong and you notice a coworker struggling? Or maybe you hear that they want to take next week off, but they don't have anyone to cover their shift, and you know that you're free. Maybe you could say like, hey, if you ever needed someone to cover your shift, I'm usually free on Friday, and I heard you're going away, so I'd be happy to cover that shift for you. So you want to start taking on job appropriate ways to be helpful with someone who you've gotten to know a little bit. So that's kind of that next step, right? So we went from being friendly at work And now we're moving into making job related friendships, right? Because we want to start by being friends on the job with someone before we're kind of friends with them outside the job. It wouldn't really make sense, right? Someone you've never spoken to at work, and next thing you know, you're like, hey, do you want to come spend my birthday with me in the Bahamas, right? We don't really jump from point A to point B like that.
No, that's very good. And I think we also have to prepare people for other people may be friendly to us on the job. They may take us as their coverage. They may take us up on all of our helpful hints, but they may not be ready to be best friends either. So we have to be ready for that.
That's a good one, because what is a friendship? It is reciprocates, right?
Yes.
So I may be helping someone out, right? I pick up the box for them or I cover shit, but what are they doing to help me out? So think about that too. Make sure if you found someone who you're getting along with, you guys talk and chat and everything is good, you guys have a great coworker relationship, and you're helping them out, but make sure that they're helping you out too.
Yes.
Right? You want that relationship to go both ways. So now, we're doing it here, right? We've been friendly, we found someone, coworker who we have some things in common with, we made some small talk on the job, I help them out, they help me out, it's two-way street. And now I've decided I kind of like this person. And now maybe I'm thinking about taking that step to being a friend, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the spot where sometimes things fall apart. And this can fall apart for everyone, not
That's
just
true.
Someone with a disability or not. So it's not, specific to certain types of disabilities or anything like that. It's for everyone. But the thing about being friends is we have to be really careful about our own stuff, right? So we don't want to be victims of the overshare.
No. No.
Right? So just because you're getting along with someone really well at work, seems like you're helping each other out, you don't want to overshare. So if you're in a crisis or maybe you've gone through some really challenging emotional times in your life, you want to really, before you jump into trusting a person with that, you want to make sure that they're a safe person to share with.
That's a really good point, Hillary. I like that. And I'm wondering about the fact that when we do get really friendly at work and we see someone being as supportive to us as we are to them, and they say, hey, we should do something after work one night, does that mean inviting this person to your house, or does this mean kind of out in the open, out in public, to kind of get used to this person off the job?
So that's a really good point you bring up, Brenda, is that when we take that relationship that was going really well at work and we try to move it outside of the job, we have to remember that we only know someone in one context. We don't know who they are outside of work. So we have to kind of, again, stick with our boundaries and maybe do something like go get lunch together on your lunch break.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Maybe there's something going on in the public
Yeah.
that a bunch of people from work are kind of getting together and doing. So you're doing something in a group. It's another really good way to move your work friendships in an appropriate setting outside of work. Maybe there is an opportunity at your job for like a fun day or something else where people are celebrating someone's birthday and you're going to all meet up at a local restaurant. So these are great next steps, especially if you want to just kind of maintain a little bit of boundary before, once again, handing out your best friendship.
True.
So yeah, so don't, if you're like, hey, let's hang out tomorrow night, I don't know if I would invite someone over to my house before I've hung out with them in other settings outside of the job.
I agree. I completely agree. I think this is very helpful for individuals starting out, especially on new jobs, especially just starting jobs, just getting out into the workforce.
So one of the things I think that trips people up is that they may have a manager or even a job coach say to them, hey, you're not here to make friends, get to work, right? We've probably all heard that before. But it's really code for stop talking because your productivity is going down. So it really doesn't mean you can't make friends. What it really means is that you're engaged in a conversation with someone else, or you're focused too much on talking to people and it's taking away from your productivity. So when people say, hey, we're not here to make friends, get to work, it really means that you're talking to your coworkers is interfering with you getting your job done. So just be careful that a lot of times there are just some mixed messages that go on at work about whether or not it's appropriate to have friends.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point, because I think we all do socialize at work. It is part of our social life.
So you have to know when the right time to socialize is, and that may be on your break, right? It may be during lunch. It may be during events that your employer has put on where everyone's kind of chatting a little bit before the event happens. It may be with people you share a workspace with, so it could be coworkers if you're doing a lot of physical tasks and you're doing it next to someone and it's okay for you guys to have a conversation. That may be a really good space.
As long as you're productive during the conversation.
As long as you're productive, that's a big one. Another time you may hear you're not here to make friends, you're here to work, is if, and I've seen this before, you're already struggling with boundaries. And that may mean that a coworker is feeling maybe overwhelmed because you are kind of giving them a lot of attention that they haven't asked for. Maybe you're texting people when you're not at work in a way that they're not responding to that conversation, or they're not into that communication either. It could be that maybe you're seeking a romantic relationship from someone who's not interested, even if you haven't overtly said to them, hey, let's go out on a date. You may be attracted to them and you're just trying to be closer to them and be near them because you like them, but that person may feel a little overwhelmed by that attention. And so that's where you may be seeing a supervisor, a senior staff, or a job coach kind of saying to you, you're here to work and not make friends. So if you're getting that feedback from someone, I think for me, I would ask, why are you saying that? And ask for some clarification. Because if you are trying to make friends and you're getting the kind of feedback of get to work, you're not here to make friends, it usually means that somewhere in those steps that we gave you, something is breaking down and isn't working for you.
Exactly. Very good. And very good tip in there within about if you're texting people off hours. A lot of people are willing to be friendly at work, but when they're off work, they don't want to talk about work. They may not even want to hear from anyone at work.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's something we have to remind people of.
And that could be a good thing if you're trying to make a friend at work and you maybe have a common interest. Let's say Brenda and I are both really into Pokemon. And I say to Brenda, hey, I've got this Pokemon group that I love. If you want, give me your phone number and I'll text it to you. So this gives Brenda the opportunity to kind of say to me what her comfort level is without being put on the spot. Like, can I have your number, Brenda, right? Mm-hmm. She may feel really put on the spot. But if it's something that we both enjoy, then instead of being put on the spot, she has the opportunity to say, oh, you know what, I'm not really interested. I'm already involved in a Pokemon group. Or, you know what, I don't give my phone number out. I'm not comfortable with that, but I'd love it if you maybe could write down the website. So sometimes when you offer people that opportunity to engage with you in that respect, they'll show you what their boundary is. So I would encourage you to kind of put it out there, but without putting pressure on someone. And if you're struggling with how to do that, that would be a great question for a job coach, is how can I engage in a more of a friendship with some of my coworkers who I get along with? And my last tip, because I know this video is getting a little long, would be to talk to your supervisor and talk to your job coach about what is already in place in the workplace culture to help with kind of getting coworkers involved. What kind of activities are there? Most jobs maybe have some fun days for staff set aside. They may have different corporate events that you can go to, staff days, different activities, and look for things that are set up by the job, but also maybe informal, part of the company structure. Maybe there's a group of people that order coffee from Starbucks every morning. And if you start your morning at the same time as them, maybe say, hey, you know, guys, I love Starbucks and it's on my way to work. What's the deal with your group? Because I'd be happy to stop and get Starbucks one morning. You know, figure out what that company culture is and that already is supporting some workplace friendships, and then get involved in that, and that'll give you an opportunity to socialize with people and get to know them without giving away your best friendship.
Those are great points, Hillary, and we have right here at ArCal some fun days that are kind of all ArCal related, and then some groups who may do some side events. So that's great. That's really good.
And also know that it's okay not to make friends at work too. If you find that you have a really nice group of friends outside of work, there is no pressure to be best friends or close friends with anyone you work with, but you should still be friendly to your coworkers.
You should still be cordial to all of your workers, all of your coworkers. Yeah.
So I hope this was helpful. And again, if you are someone who's looking to make friends with your coworkers and need some support, please talk to your employment specialist. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Hillary.